أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ومستودعا لحكمته. In this latest line of Ziyarat Jami'a Kabira, we are saying to our Imams that that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has chosen you or preferred you to be mustawda'an li hikmati, stores or safekeepers of His wisdom. Duas.org uses stores. I prefer safekeepers and will explain why. So the word is mustawda'. What is a mustawda'? Mustawda' is basically isme makan, the place where something happens, from the root of wada'a. Wada'a in its original meaning means to leave or to clear. And then we have wadi'a, which is property that is kept with someone else for safekeeping, i.e. amanat. So when an amanat is given to someone for safekeeping, that is known as wadi'a. And the whole act of giving someone something to look after is known as istida'. So now we have a few words which come along. One is mustawdi'. Mustawdi' is the one who gives amanat, who entrusts the amanat. And mustawda' is the one who receives the amanat and will look after the amanat. So the link to the original meaning is that eventually the property will eventually return to the owner and leave its place of safekeeping. That's how we get to this meaning from the root. And then we have hikmah, which we have discussed before, and simply it means wisdom. So what we are saying here is that Allah has preferred you or chosen you to be mustawda'an, stores or safekeepers, li hikmatihi, of His wisdom. So what do we mean by stores of the wisdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Well, we've already discussed the link between the Imams and wisdom under the line maadini hikmatillah. There's a difference between this line that we are discussing today and that line from before. One difference is this, that in maadini hikmatillah, we are focusing on the place which flourishes with wisdom. In other words, the heart of the Imams. The being of the Imams, where hikmat is stored, wisdom is stored and is kept safe. Here, in that line, we were focusing on the place which flourishes with wisdom, i.e. the Imam. Because a ma'adin is a place that is suitable for the settling of valuable things. But in today's line, we are concentrating more on them being safekeepers of wisdom. And we are focusing more on the source, because we are saying lihikmatihi, we are joining that to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we are concentrating on them as keepers. So in short, using the term we are using today, istida' shows that they are servants of Allah and not independent from Allah. And thus this line, today's line, shows the aspect of the manifestation of Tawheed in the Imams. As I've said time and time again, there is a big misconception amongst people that somehow people have got this into their heads that Tawheed and Wilayat compete with one another. These are two different things competing with one another. Whereas no, in our understanding in Shia Islam, as we've tried to explain again and again in Ziyarat Jami'a, they don't compete, they complement. If you understand Tawheed, you will perfectly understand Wilayat. If you understand Wilayat, you will perfectly understand Tawheed. Therefore, the Imams are the excellent trusted ones of Allah, trusted to look after His amanat, guard it from those who would ruin it, and to make sure it reaches those who are worthy of it. They are the primary creation of Allah, and just like His other graces and bounties, they are the first recipients of His wisdom, and thereafter they distribute that wisdom to others based on the capacity to receive. What about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Is He does he have this amanat? Can we use those words for Allah? Does he hold this amanat? No. We don't say Allah is holding amanat because no one has given it to Allah. He is the source. He is not amanat dar. He is the one who gives others the amanat. He is the source. He doesn't take from anyone. Everyone takes from him. He owns everything. Amongst other verses, I'll just quote this verse from Surah Maryam, verse number 40. Inna nahnu narithul ard wa man alayha wa ilayna yurja'un. Look at all the emphases in this verse which suggest total dominion and independence as the source of every goodness of Allah. The verse means, indeed we shall inherit the earth and whoever there is on it, and to us they shall be brought back. In other words, we own everything. There's no one else that has any ownership here. Yes, we can choose to give access to these things to other people, but the ownership and independence is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The emphases are as follows: Inna. For those of you who know Arabic, you understand that inna is a what do we say, harf ta'keed, is a term or a word used in order to emphasize. Nahnu, again, no need to use nahnu really. Grammatically, there was no need. But this is a further emphasis. Indeed, we, again, for emphasizing him, Allah. Narithul ard, again, using the plural we. Narithul ard, wa man alayha. Wa ilayna yurja'un, again, the use of ilayna, to us. So in all of this verse, you see that these are heavy emphases to highlight the source, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In this line of Ziyarat Jami'a, we're also highlighting the same thing, that you are simply safekeepers of the wisdom of Allah. The source is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The second thing I wanted to mention was that this is actually saying something even beyond what we had said before. Here now we are bearing witness. Remember, this is all within the line, within the theme, within the continuation of bearing witness. So here we are bearing witness that you are the Imams who Allah is happy, radiyakum. He is happy, He has chosen you, He has preferred you as what? As mustawda'an li hikmatihi. So here as a za'ir, as a visitor, as a person reciting ziyarat, we are bearing witness that the Imams are the mustawda of the hikmat of Allah. And so the level of recognition of the Imam is much higher now than just stating something as a belief. Here now we are actually bearing witness, testimony. Imagine you go to a court and you bear witness. How heavy is that? How much responsibility are you taking with that? That is a very heavy statement. So this is a very heavy statement, that I bear witness. I put my neck on the line. I make a declaration. I stand and I'm being counted as one of the witnesses of the position of the Imams. This is the lutf and karam and kindness of the Imams, that they have allowed us actually to bear witness to them. Otherwise, who are we really to bear witness to them? But they have allowed us to bear witness to them. Another point which Agha brings is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us a few amanats, one of them being the human soul itself. That the nafs is a trust from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we have certain responsibilities towards our nafs, and we have to one day return this trust back to Allah, and He will assess that, did you look after this trust? How did you treat it? What did you do with it? In khutbah number 215 of Nahjul Balagha, His Highness Amirul Mu'mineen says, Allahumma ja'al nafsi awwala karimatin tanzi'uha min karaimi. Oh my Lord, oh my God, let my spirit be the first of those good objects that thou takest from me. وَأَوَّلَ وَدِيعَةٍ. Remember the word wadi'a we discussed before. وَأَوَّلَ وَدِيعَةٍ تَرْتَجِعُهَا مِنْ وَدَائِعِ نِعَمِكَ عِنْدِي. And the first trust or amanat out of thy favors held in trust with me. In other words, we are responsible for our souls, and this is a great trust of Allah. And of course, these are the days of Bibi Fatima, Salamullahi alayha. May Allah make us of the Shias of Bi Fatima and those who defend her honor and her position. He says this in Sermon 202 at the burial of Janab Fatima. فَلَقَدْ اسْتُرْجِعَتِ الْوَدِيعَةِ. Now the trust has been returned, and what had been given has been taken back. As to my grief, it knows no bounds, and as to my nights, they will remain sleepless, till Allah chooses for me the house in which you are now residing. This is Amirul Mu'mineen addressing Rasulullah with the burial of Janab Fatima happening in front of him, and he's declaring to the Holy Prophet that the amanat which was given to me, I am now returning. And when a deceased is laid in the grave, now this is a general point regarding when we return people in their graves, when we bury them, when a deceased is laid in the grave, it is actually similar to what we have been saying, because one day that same deceased which is in the grave will be brought out and it will be settled in its permanent place, which is heaven, inshallah, for all of us who love Amirul Mu'mineen. I'm going to stop here uh, and take any questions. When is Ziyarat Jamia normally recited and the benefits? It can be recited anytime, anywhere. It can be recited in parts because if you find it long, which I don't think it is long, but if maybe some people might find it long, you can even recite it in parts. Recite half today, half tomorrow, 1/3, 1/4, 1/5, whatever you want. And it can be recited anywhere, anytime. Just like any other ziyarat, like Ziyarat Aminullah or Ali Yasin or Ziyarat Ashura. Uh, Typically, I would advise you at least once a week you should recite it. Ziyarat Ashura should be more than once a week. Ziyarat Aminullah, probably more than once a week. Ziyarat Jamia, maybe because it's long, once a week. Ziyarat Ali Yasin, every day for Imam Zaman. Every day, Ziyarat Ali Yasin. What are the benefits? So I don't have in front of me the benefits which are described in terms of the rewards specifically, but someone had met Imam Zaman, and Imam Zaman, he asked, oh Imam, tell me, how do I keep a link with you and how do I improve my connection with you? And Imam Zaman told him, Jamia, Jamia, Jamia. In other words, at the Jamia, keep reciting, keep reciting, keep reciting. The other thing is that it's the best list of merits and fazilat of Aimma alayhimus salam. So why would you not want to recite that when this is from the Zabane Mubarak, the blessed tongue of Imam Ali al-Naqi alayhi salam. So this is his words regarding the Imams. There's another one. When you go to the shrines of Ahlul Bayt, can I recite Jamia? We're like, yeah, of course. When you go to the shrines, this is what it means, right? Jamia means encompassing, like complete. Jamia. It includes every place. In any place you go, for any of the Imams, you can recite Zat Jamia. The only small difference is that if you are saluting Amirul Mu'mineen, then there's one place which we have not reached yet, where you have to change the word from Jaddikum to Akhik, your grandfather to your brother. But that's fine, it's a one-word difference. In fact, you can actually say, I'm reciting for all the Imams, and you can actually recite it and say Jaddikum and Akhik, because all 12 Imams are then included in that. So you can do that. So yes, inshallah, you'll get rewards from Allah. All the ziyarats have immense rewards. All the ziyarats have immense connection with Aimma. They love us to remember them and to salute them and honor them, because it actually makes us honoring ourselves. They don't need our honor. Actually, we need their honor. When we honor them, we somehow get honored by them as well. Same as salawat. When you recite salawat, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad, we are sending salutations on them, but then that salutations actually comes back to us. So yeah. So That was our discussion on this line from Ziyarat Jamia, which was وَمُسْتَوْدَعًا لِحِكْمَتِهِ. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.